What up, Bloomies? Tonight we're stepping into a conversation that fits right at the intersection of consciousness, healing, spirituality, and one of humanity's oldest questions: Who are we, and why are we here? Our guest tonight, Jess Soto, is an author, hypnotherapist, spiritual guide, and the author of Becoming Her: A Journey of Remembering. Through her work, Jess helps people explore healing, self-discovery, hypnosis, past life regression, and what she describes as a deeper journey of the soul. Her mission is centered around helping people reconnect who they truly are, understand the experience that has shaped them. And now, I'll be honest, I've always been fascinated with topics like hypnosis, past life regression, consciousness, and whether our souls carry a story that extends beyond this lifetime. Questions like, do you remember your past life? What is hypnosis actually doing to the mind? Our souls have a purpose before we even get here? And if our journey that we're really on, and what are we supposed to learn from it? Tonight, we're not diving all into that. Welcome, Jess Soto. Welcome to
Thank
the
you.
house. You're welcome.
I appreciate.
So, what's going on? How's your day been? What's going on?
Oh man, I'm planning to right now. I'm planning a uh, wellness. I wouldn't say a retreat, but a wellness day in
Okay.
Orlando to help women, meant to anyone who attends, but to help them really work through some of the nervous system. So we're doing some sound healing, meditation, um, somatic work, and breath work as well. So I'm working on planning that. That's been fun. It'll be my first event ever. So I'm really excited
Okay.
about that.
You got this. You got this.
Yeah. Thank you.
I'm sending you positive vibes. Now, you just released your new book, Becoming Her.
Yes,
So, what led up to you writing that book? What was the inspiration? What was your muse?
absolutely. So what led me to write that book? So prior to writing the book, I never thought I would be an author. I would say in 2024, I really went deep into my spiritual healing, and I ended up in Colombia for 2 months. It was actually 3 months, sorry, for 3 months. And while I was in Colombia, I did plant medicine journeys. And it was during an ayahuasca ceremony that I heard my book narrated or my story narrated in my mind. And it was just kind of like repeating over and over again. And it was in that moment that the medicine showed me that my story, my life is my gift. And I sat with that and I was like, okay, so I guess I'm supposed to write a book. And that led me on the journey. It was when I made the decision, like, okay, I'm going to do this, that everything started aligning. I met a publisher who really helped me with the process. And it was just understanding that my story, though I thought it was tragic, was actually a beautiful gift.
Okay. I feel you on that. So, can you give us a little bit of background, a little teaser onto what Becoming Her is all about? Like, like give us some key
Yes,
points.
absolutely. So the book itself, I wrote it as a memoir. So it's based off of my
Mhm.
life and the experiences that I've had throughout my life. So the beginning was teenage pregnancy. I was pregnant with my son at 15. I was in abusive relationships, really lost in my own life, like not knowing
Mhm.
who I was, really disconnected. I was in an unhappy and unfulfilled marriage for 9 years. And what led to my transition was asking that internal question of who am I? And I didn't know who I was because I was too busy wearing masks and being someone for everyone else in my life, like my children, my husband, my job. And when I didn't have an answer to that question, that really like startled me
Mhm.
of like, man, who am I? I don't know who I am. I don't know what my purpose is. I felt really numb and disconnected. So that led me on my journey of my spiritual awakening of wanting to discover who am I? What do I enjoy? So I began seeking myself. So that's why it's the journey of remembering, like journey of remembering who I am at the core of like bigger than this person or this personality that I've created, this, Jess, who am I
Mhm.
beyond that? And that led me into the spiritual. journey of plant medicine, but also diving deep into the hypnotherapy, life coaching, and peeling back the layers of, unlearning who I was in order to discover who I really am. Um, so that's that journey. And what I do after each chapter is I write down the scientific insight, what was happening in my nervous system and my brain during each chapter, and also the spiritual aspect. So what was happening spiritually at that time, like how was I being guided
Yeah,
divinely by something bigger than myself, even when it looked like a really dark moment or like something I couldn't see past. So I really went into that. And then I ended the book with all the wisdom that I've learned throughout my journey.
I got you on that. That's dope. So like,
Thank you.
and this is more of a personal question, right? Like, as you were peeling back the layers, did you feel like, the masks were coming off? Did you feel like relieved of that, or was it more of a, you were gaining strength kind of moment for you? Well, throughout the whole process.
Yeah, there was a mixture. There was a combination of things happening, especially while I was writing the book, because I had to sit back and really remember the moments, the traumas, and the things that I really don't reflect on. And I
Mm.
had to think like, oh wow, I actually survived and lived through that. So it did remind me of like how strong I am and my strength through each moment. And it also reminded me of how I've always had this, like, the intuition that I've had, that I've trusted, that have led me on my journey, and just remembering to always trust that, because we always have the inner guidance, that we may not always listen to, but when we can sit back and just think about our lives and how far we've come, like, at least for me in that moment, I was like, "Wow," like, I've always been molded for something bigger than myself.
I got you on that. I got you on that. So when it comes down to it, right? This journey that you went on, you feel
Yeah,
that do you feel that the experiences that you personally had has helped you like gain, I don't want to say gain, but has helped you like help other people, like your trauma and like your experiences has been able to help guide other people through their trauma and their experiences.
absolutely, because I believe that we go through all these experiences in our life is part of the human experience. And if we don't
Yeah,
go through that, how can we relate to others?
true.
So it's those very experiences that allow us to be relatable. And so for me, a lot of my beginning story, there was a lot of shame, around being a teenage mom and being in abusive relationships. And there was a lot of guilt because having my kids exposed to that as well. Um, So I think that in telling your story, it not only does it help me reflect on it and heal those parts of myself, but it also helps other women see themselves in my story so that they can begin to heal their own traumas and look at their life as a beautiful story, or as a beautiful gift that they have as well. Um, so that they don't have to live in those dense emotions of shame or guilt or anger, resentment, or anything like that. You can just kind of like release it and be in the moment and be in this life.
Yeah, I get that, and it's very true. Like like somebody else's experiences and like their outcome could give somebody else strength, and kudos to you and being able to reach out and affect people's lives and being able to say, hey, listen, I was in this situation. If you were in the same situation I was, here's what I did, and I hope that you're able to gather strength from my experience and put it into action in your own.
Exactly. And
Yeah.
even to stop and reflect on your own journey of like, okay, who am I? Like just asking that question to yourself, who am I? And if you don't have an answer, that's okay. Like, don't worry about having an answer or needing to have an answer right away. But I think the awareness of asking the question, the answer will come. It may not come all at once. It'll take time, but it'll come. And like I discovered through my journey, I discovered dance, which has really, that in itself was a spiritual journey and transformational as well. But finding movement in my body to move and alchemize the energy that I held on to for so many years.
I get that. And do you find that a lot of people right now kind of neglect their intuition and kind of like neglect on finding who they are because they're trying to like fit a standard or trying to be the things that other people want them to be or what society wants them to be.
Yes, absolutely. 100%. Because that's what we're programmed to do. We're programmed to forget who we actually are and the power that we have within us to create our own lives, like to create our reality. And so we get stuck in the programming of thinking and not understanding that our reality that we're living, the experience, is a reflection of what's happening within us. So a lot of times, and most people are in survival mode, so they don't have the capacity even to reflect on themselves, because not only are they trying to survive their own life and provide, but then if they have children, that's another aspect of like, now I'm wearing my mom hat and I have
Yeah.
to, be a caregiver, be an emotional support system for another human being. And so a lot of that, if you don't take time for yourself first, it's like you're giving from an empty cup. And then how are you refilling yourself?
No, it's like the saying goes that if you can't help yourself, who could you help? Right?
Yeah,
Or
exactly.
is it you gotta help yourself first to help other people? One of those
It's
two.
true.
But all right. So when it comes to like you finding yourself, right? What advice would you give like a regular person just trying to like, you know, tap back into their own intuition and like find who they really
I would say be patient with yourself through the process. Um, the biggest thing for me of what I started to do was consume different content. So when I first began my spiritual awakening, my journey of finding myself, I started listening to, like, the book that really changed my life was The Teachings of Abraham by Abraham Hicks.
are? Yeah.
And that book taught me that there was one, it taught me that I was the creator of my own reality, but it also taught me that we're constantly co-creating with a non-physical.
Yeah.
Um, and that there's a power and a force that's greater than us, but it is us and that we can always tap into. So I would say, in order to tap into that, like, the one thing that I did was meditate. Like, even if you say you can't meditate, you can. It's just quieting your mind for a moment. And when I say quiet your mind, I don't mean stop the thoughts, because your thoughts are going to be constant, but it's becoming aware of the thoughts. It's like tapping into your breath, being still. And then when the thoughts occur, pay attention to what you're thinking. Okay, what is that thought? But don't get attached to it. Like, allow it to pass, but being mindful of like, okay, what are these thoughts and how can I change it? How can I shift that? Also, your belief system. Like, I had to really challenge every single belief that I had in understanding that it wasn't, I was living a lie, like it wasn't true. Um, so it's like questioning your beliefs, like, is this true? Where did it come from? It may not even be your belief that you're holding on to and attaching yourself to about yourself. It could be what somebody told you as a child, that maybe you're not good enough. Like for me, for example, um, I always thought that there was something wrong with my voice and that I couldn't be a speaker. And I was terrified of speaking because I had this limiting belief that there was something wrong with my voice that came from childhood, when I was constantly told that I was annoying or to shut up and that I was stupid. So thinking that the things that I had to say weren't valid or good enough to be heard. And that was a belief that I had to overcome, and understanding that I have a message to deliver. Um, so it's really being with yourself and understanding that each and every one of us hold unique gifts, and that our life in itself is a gift and it's a miracle that we're here. And we chose this life, and we chose it to be in the fullness of who we are, to discover who we are, like our authentic self. And so through my journey, I've discovered that my voice is my gift and that it's
True.
powerful and that it's going to help so many people. Um, and I discovered that I'm safe to be seen and heard. That's another limiting belief that I had to overcome, not feeling safe and understanding that my life is a gift.
I got that. I got that. And like when it comes down to restructuring your belief systems, right? How difficult did you on your own personal journey? How difficult
Yeah.
did you find it, shifting your belief from one thing to another, from the mindset of scarcity and, fear, to a mindset of, I'm the shit and I'm here to, be myself.
Yes, yes, yes. A lot of it, so shifting it takes work and it takes time. What helped me was positive affirmations and
Yeah.
just posting these positive affirmations up. Like I'm looking at my wall right now and there's positive affirmations of who I am, right? It's like the inherited gifts that we have when we come into this human experience is like I am love, I am worthy, I am prosperous, I am, and knowing the I am that I am, like I am powerful. I carry many gifts and I'm here to create. So a lot of the positive affirmations help me reprogram the limiting beliefs of all the things that I didn't believe I was
Yeah.
before. So that definitely helps. And also taking action. Like if you have a dream sitting inside of you or a desire in your heart, uh, one thing is knowing that that desire is in your heart for a reason. It's there because it wants to be expressed through you. Um, and the only person that can express your desires is you. So if I have a desire in my heart, I have to start taking action towards that, making it happen, making it my reality. Oh,
Okay.
also what helped me is a vision board,
True.
putting vision. So one is getting clear, okay, what do you want? Right? What is it that you desire? Being clear and being specific on that vision that you have for yourself. And then putting these images somewhere where you can see them because visualization is you're using one of your five senses that you're here having this human experience with, and you get to see actually what it is that you want to live and create in your own life. So that actually helped me a lot too, because I created my vision board in the
Yeah.
very beginning when I was still in the scarcity mindset and I didn't even know how these visions were going to come to pass, like going to Paris and the Eiffel Tower. And when I put it on my vision board, it seemed like so far away. But every day I would look at my vision board and just visualize myself being there. And then all of a sudden, like a year later, I'm in the Eiffel Tower having dinner, and I put a aerial vision of Palm Island in Dubai. Again, at the time, I wasn't traveling the world. I didn't
Yeah.
know how it was going to happen, and the other part is don't get caught up on the how. If you put your vision out there, you have your desire. You can focus on that. Don't focus on anything else. Don't focus on the lack of it. Just know that it's going to happen because it's the desire that you have. And like 2023, I was skydiving in Dubai above Palm Islands. So
Fire.
I think, yeah, and I think that once you start to begin to realize that you are the creator of your reality and you visualize it and you put the intention out there, that you get to watch it manifest in your life.
Cool. Well, a lot of people try to like manifest their lifestyle, right? How important, what's the importance of action? Because a lot of people would just be like, all right, I'm visualizing it, I'm, feeling it, but there's always a lack of action.
Mhm.
how important is action to actually get to where you want to be?
For me in my life, what I've experienced is action is important. But I would say don't get caught up on it because we could you
Yeah.
can get caught up in the action, like, "Oh, what do
True.
I need to do? What step do I need to take?" And then it just confuses you even more because then when you get caught up, like, "I need to take this specific action in order for this to happen," um, you almost limit the way that it can happen, uh, and I believe that we live in a universe that is filled with infinite possibilities. And so when we limit ourselves um, by saying, okay, this has to happen this way, um, then you're limiting the universe and you're saying that you're living in a limited universe and that's not true. You're living in an infinite universe of infinite possibility. And so I believe that taking small actions, um, like go work out your physical body, right? You want
Yeah.
to be in shape, take that action. Like you have to work the muscles. But also with manifestation, the action is depending on what it is you want to create in your life. Like for me, it had to be getting out of my house and meeting people because you never know who you're gonna meet that's gonna change your life, and
True
that's
enough.
actually what happened, yeah. So for
True,
me, it
very
was
true.
meeting someone that changed my life, that changed my whole reality, my whole perspective, and me deciding like, okay, that's what I want. That's what I desire, and making the decision of taking that leap, the leap of faith.
True. And some people don't take that leap of faith, you know. They have to kind of like get pushed into it or be put in a situation where, you know, it's do or die. And you know that and it's a very scary situation for most.
Yeah.
But when you actually go through it, you know that happiness usually lives on the other side of fear.
Yes, it's true. And a lot of people stay stuck because of fear and because they don't want to get outside of their comfort zone.
Yeah.
And that was for me. Like when I got out of my 9-year marriage, I needed to disrupt my entire reality. And so in the marriage, we bought a house, we had a big house, I worked in corporate America. You know, we had everything that looked like the American dream from the outside. But on the inside, I was numb and suffocating. So how was I really enjoying that manifestation of that reality? And I had to make a decision like, okay, in order for me to find myself,
Mhm.
I needed to make some really hard decisions and getting out of my comfort zone and getting my kids out of the comfort zone of like getting the divorce, selling the house. And they were really hard decisions. But looking at who I am today, like I wouldn't be who I am today if I didn't make those hard decisions. So you never know what version of yourself is waiting on the other side of those decisions that you feel like we make them mountains in our life and really they're not. They're just little stones kind of in the way. We could
Yeah.
just move them or step over them. And yeah, I would say to kind of like really shrink it down, knowing that yes, you're going to go through some changes and you're going to stir up some things inside of you, but that's how you get to learn and grow and expand and know more of who you are.
True. You know, and perception is like a 90 is like 90% of like the stress that we have
Mhm.
is the perception of our problems. So
Mm.
when it comes to that, how distorted do you think that most people's perception is when it comes to like making no because it's a valid question, like, you know, like
Yeah. Yeah.
like how distorted do you think people's perceptions are for when it comes to making like those really hard decisions in life?
Very distorted because we live
Yeah.
in a distorted reality. I mean, we're programmed to believe a lie. Like that's just from the very beginning, from the moment we enter the earth, like we're taught all these things and we're bombarded with so much information. Um, and expectations, right? And that does give us a distorted reality. And so if you could take a step back from that, that's where you really have to tap into your inner self, your inner knowing and that
Yeah.
intuition of trusting yourself, trusting your heart, because your heart actually has all the wisdom. That's like so many of us want to be in our heads and we think that we can create from that space, but your mind even will distort your reality because of the meaning, like the things that, you know, there's could be something happening in your life right now and you're giving it meaning, right? And that meaning that you're giving it is detrimental to your growth because you're making it mean something more than what it needs to. Like you're giving it more of uh I'm getting caught up in my words, I'm sorry. But
No,
you're
you're good.
making it you're making it mean like a bigger story than what it needs to. So I think taking a step back and rewriting the script if,
No,
is going to be key.
I feel that. I feel that. And when you went to Colombia and did plant based medicine, right?
Yeah.
How how did was that like a big help, or was it just like more like a guide in the right direction? And besides, you know, your book that came out of it, did any other like big epiphanies happen?
Yes. Yes. When I connected with Mother Ayahuasca, so many things that I knew conceptually, like that I felt like I understood. When I connected with the medicine, I embodied it. Like, I really understood at such a depth that just reading a book couldn't give me that depth of understanding. Um, like, I really understood how I am a creator of my own life, how I get to be here, how it's a gift, how I get to enjoy my creation. Um, and then another huge piece of information that came from the medicine was choosing love and understanding that love is a choice. So it doesn't matter what situation you're going through in your life, you have a choice. You can choose love, you can choose resentment, you can choose anger, you can choose forgiveness. You can really, you have the free will to choose what it is you want to experience. So, like, after my plant medicine experience, some things started to get come into my reality that
Mm.
I didn't know prior to. Maybe it was always there. I just wasn't ready to see it yet. So it was like I had a veil over my eyes. And then with the medicine, it just kind of opened up my vision to see things for what they really were. And that was a hard lesson that I learned. Whereas, like, I came out and understood that my sister was having a relationship with my ex husband for 3 years. And that moment when I realized that betrayal that I was experiencing, um, the medicine came back. Choose love, choose love. Because I could have chosen anger, resentment, revenge, all
Yeah,
the things.
definitely,
And I
definitely.
allowed myself to feel, like, I allowed myself to feel and process the emotions, but then I gave it to God. I was like, you know what? This isn't mine. And these are just people on their own journey, having their own experience, and they were projecting their unhealed wounds and wanting to harm whoever was in their way. And it had nothing to do with me. And so I really had to take a step back and look at it from a different perspective. And the medicine, if I didn't do the medicine, if I didn't have that experience prior to finding all of this out, I think my reaction would have been very different. So
Yeah.
the medicine definitely taught me a lot.
All right. No, I it's usually that's what usually happens. Like I've spoken to a couple of people that have done ayahuasca and met Mother Ayahuasca, and it's radicalized it. I don't want to say radicalized, but it's changed their life radically.
Hmm.
And it's always came out a positive, or if not, a lesson learned.
Yes.
So kudos to you, and kudos to Mother Ayahuasca for helping you, take the high road out of there. Because a lot of people would just crashed out.
It wasn't worth it, for me. Like, I really thought about it. I'm like, it's not worth it, because if I do that, like, if I decide to react,
Yeah,
right, in this negative, with this negative energies, then I'm right back in that same
space.
muddy storm. Yeah.
Yeah,
And I didn't want to be in that. I'm like, that's chaos. And I don't choose chaos. Like, now I get to choose something different, because also what I felt with ayahuasca was pure love and bliss. And I'm like, man, I know what that feels like. When you know what that feels like and you experience that, there's really no going back to the other familiar things. Like, now I know something different. It's like my nervous system, my mind, my brain has experienced something new and different. And I want to keep that. Like, I want to keep this elevated level of consciousness that I now got to experience, and understanding that it's all part of it. Like, it's all part of my learning. And I had to look at it from this perspective of, it led to my growth and my expansion, because if I didn't go through that, I wouldn't know the depths of those emotions that I felt, to get past that, to grow past that, and understanding that on a soul level, before we incarnated in human form, we had these agreements that I was going to experience this betrayal, and it's all out of love. So, like, if you go to the concept of the devil and God, right? We have to
yeah,
experience darkness in order. There is no light without darkness, right?
true.
And so we have this wide variety that we now got to experience, because the devil chose, like, yeah, I'm going to go, I'm this opposite spectrum, and God is over here, but they're really one and the same. And it's all out of love. Like, they loved each other so much that they agreed to have those experiences so that we can have the fullness of life. Without it, life would be mundane. I mean, if we all didn't have our own individuality
Yeah,
and our own understanding, like, they would just be kind of boring.
that's true. Yeah, 100% on that. 100%. because of the fact that, with the duality of life,
Hmm.
hate and love are on the same spectrum but at the opposite ends.
Yeah.
And with people experiencing that spectrum at their own pace and at their own experience, you kind of get these ideas, you get these experiences, you get these stories that transcend time and transcend time and touches people's hearts. And you also have the, how can I say it, the usual story that all humans tell from the beginning of time, the hero story, where you know you have this one person who is the chosen one, and they go on this adventure to help everyone else out, and they fall and they fall from grace, rise back up, and and gain the strength they need in order to overcome whatever the situation was.
Yes. Beautiful way to put it. Thank you.
Yeah, yeah. But now that you've done your hero's journey, right?
Hmm.
How are you helping everybody else? I know that you're doing the hypnotherapy, you're doing past life regression. Can you dive a little bit into that?
Yes. So the hypnotherapy is one and the same with the past life regression. So basically, I take my clients through hypnosis, and it's just guiding them with my voice. It's very safe. You're going into a deep sleep. I take you to the theta brainwave. So theta is the brainwave right before you fall asleep and right when you wake up. That in between sleep and waking state, and in that state we access your subconscious. So I'm guiding your subconscious this whole time as your body is like going into this really relaxed state. And your subconscious will take you to a lifetime. It could be a past life, it could be sometimes a present life or a future life or a parallel life or even life on another planet. Um, so that's your subconscious is taking you to another place at another time to get information that you need to know that will benefit you in this lifetime. Like maybe you're holding on to some type of emotion that you had that could be related to a fear that you have in this lifetime. So let's say you drowned to death in a past life. And in this life, you have the fear of water and you don't know why. It could be related to that death that you had in a past life. So I take you, we go to the past life, we go to your death scene. First, we go to 3 important days in that lifetime, and
Yeah.
then I take you through your death scene, so you relive that again. And then when you're on the other side of that physical life, and you died, and you're in like the spirit realm, then you can look at that life and you can see it from a different perspective. Why did you choose that? Like, why did you go into that life to have that experience? Because ultimately, we choose our life experience. We choose when we come in, we choose when we die, we choose how we die, and everything in between is kind of like a possibility um, that could play out in your life. So, and even relationships, like you can come into this life with a really abusive mother or father and not understanding, like, are they, why did I choose this person to be my mother? There's a lesson so you can look at it from a higher perspective of like, I chose her because maybe you had a past life with
Yeah.
her and you were the abuser in that life. So you either needed to balance it out because in the universe there's always balance, or you needed to learn self love. And there was a lesson in there for you on a deeper level, on a soul level. Um, but once we get through that, then we do, and I call forth your subconscious, and your subconscious will give you answers to questions that you may have. So most people will ask the question of like, what is my life purpose? Am I on the right path? What what was this relationship? What did I need to learn from it? And your subconscious is so powerful because it has record of every life that you've ever lived. It's like on the soul level, the Akashic records.
Yeah.
Um, it'll answer your questions for you. And so it's really healing in that way where my latest session that I had, she was my client was having a reoccurring nightmare. And she's like, I don't know why I keep having this reoccurring nightmare. Well, we did the hypnotherapy session and she learned that it was something that she can change. That following night, after the session, she changed the dream. It no longer was a nightmare, it became a beautiful dream. And
Oh, that's
she just
awesome.
realized, yeah. So it is really powerful work. It's beautiful work and it's really healing as well.
Have you ever had a client that that asked about like what their life purpose is, and then it'll be completely opposite to like what they're currently doing?
Haven't had that yet.
Haven't had it yet.
No.
Very cool. And have you had any clients that like, how can I say it, like overcame like very like deep trauma when you did like past life regression and noticed that it was from a past life, that's why they're holding on to like this weight?
Yes, I have had that. So, I had a client, she realized that she was molested,
Mm,
um, and was holding on to that and didn't know, obviously, because, your ego will protect you and, your subconscious will protect you from information that you're not ready to receive. And so during the session, she found out, um, and that really allowed her to see it and to process it and then ultimately to release it and let it go. Because in that hypnosis, like, you're able to, it's almost like you're in medicine at that point, where because you're able to
mm.
release things, that consciously you wouldn't be able to, because you don't even know it's there.
Okay. Have you ever had like a client like fight back at you? Not fight back at
Yeah.
you, but like resist like your suggestion and not like deal with a certain trauma?
I've had trouble taking there was this one client in particular, taking him into hypnosis. In the beginning, he was just fighting it, like physically fighting it. I'm like, okay, you have to lay down, you have to relax, close your eyes. Um, and he just kept fighting it. And so I took him through another, when that happens, there's like another meditation that I was able to
Mhm.
use to kind of relax him. I think he was just had some fear going into hypnotherapy. But once he was able to relax and we got into his past lives and he realized that he um, was a conqueror and was on a boat, and it would just became a beautiful past life that he was able to realize some things about himself, kind of some things that he felt like he already knew, but it just he was actually submersed. So with the past life regression, you become that other personality. Like, you are no longer the person lying on the bed. You're in a whole nother lifetime, in a whole nother time period, living a completely different life, immersed with all your senses. Like, you're able to smell in that lifetime, hear things from that lifetime. So you're like completely there. And yeah, while people have been in actual hypnosis, I haven't had anyone fight me, but I have had one client take herself out of hypnosis. And that was
That
interesting.
that happens?
It happened to me one time. It was very
That's great.
interesting.
Have you had like multiple clients that are like resistant to like your suggestion to go under? Or like do a lot of
Uh,
people fight it?
no, most people don't. Most people want to have that experience. Like, they're there because they want to experience it and they want to see what their subconscious has to tell them. So that I get more of that than anything else.
Oh, that's dope. That's dope.
Um, I only had that one client that took herself out of hypnosis because apparently wherever she was, can't say that she was on Earth. I think she was in another dimension. She has to have been in another dimension, and she was receiving information, and whoever she was communicating with in that dimension told her to stop. Like, don't give, and sometimes that can happen because humanity might not be ready to receive the information that she was sharing. And so she had to stop sharing the information and then took herself out of hypnosis, which I thought was
That
really interesting.
that's crazy. That's
Yeah.
crazy.
And
Have,
I was just like, oh, okay.
that's wild. Have you had multiple experiences where like when you take somebody under, they're not human or not of this dimension?
I've had people kind of without a body. So like kind of floating in the in between. So they're not really, they're just kind of spirit, I guess,
Okay.
is what you would
That-
say, or consciousness floating
yeah,
around.
that's so cool. That's so cool. So have do you have any other like cool stories like that? Like any other cool experiences that you may want to share?
um, so yeah, I will say this one. I took my daughter under hypnosis, and she went to a past life where she was a famous artist. And in this lifetime, she carries that gift of art. Like she can draw, she can paint. She's never had classes or anything, but she just, so you can carry gifts from your past life. So we got to see where that came from. It was his life where she was this famous artist and she created like this beautiful mural in that
Wow.
lifetime. So, and she lived a full life with grandchildren. Like she lived a really, she just died of old age. It was a beautiful life that she lived that I got to take her through.
Do you feel that more people should do past life regression and kind of figure that part of themselves out?
I think yes. For me, the reason I got into hypnotherapy and past life regression is because I became obsessed with the soul level and finding out like why do we come here? I think if you want a deeper understanding of your relationships, of your life, of your purpose, that hypnotherapy will definitely help you with that. And if you have fears that you're like, I don't even know where this fear came from or why I have this fear or reoccurring nightmare or something that is reoccurring in your life is a reoccurring theme and you want to figure out what that is, this quantum healing hypnosis therapy will really help you figure that out. And you can discover gifts that you may never have known you had before.
That's so dope. What kind of gifts have you helped like your clients discover?
Um, One helped, I helped her discover her ability to heal, like being like a healer and having the gift of healing through her voice. That's one. That she didn't know she had prior to our session.
Mhm.
Um, I'm trying to think back of others. I think that would be like the main one of what did she discover that she had a hidden ability. Another woman, she went into her life, her future in this lifetime, which I thought was really interesting. But a lot of her questions were answered, where she was able to see her. She asked, will she ever be married and have kids? She was able to see herself with her husband and see herself giving birth to her children. So she was able to see all of that in her hypnotherapy session.
Oh, that's
So I think
dope.
that was really powerful too.
Yeah, that must have been really reassuring for her, and
Oh yeah.
probably put some took some shed some weight off her shoulders.
Yes. And it even showed her like where she'd be living, like what part of the world and everything. So it was really interesting.
That's so dope. That's so dope. So can you offer any like guidance on how somebody could make sure that they're in alignment with themselves and kind of like going after their soul purpose?
First would be getting clear on what it is.
Yeah,
Um, I would say pay attention to the things that you enjoy because that's going to lead you more and what makes you feel good, what fills up your cup, you know? For
yeah,
me, it's helping, for me, it's having really deep conversations and wholesome conversations, especially with women. And then there could be something in that conversation that we have, and it just triggers or sparks something in them that changes their whole life. That fills me up. Um, I know that my purpose is to help other women or other people step into their purpose because I think that's what I came on this earth to do. And just knowing that really, like, I created my whole business based around this, helping people step into their purpose. It's called the Beacon of Hope. And what I would say is pay attention to those things that you enjoy, follow that energy. Um, don't be afraid to try new things, whether it's traveling to a different part of the country, living without fear, knowing that you're creating your reality and enjoying the experience and the process of being present in the moment. Um, so many of us get stuck either with fear because or worry because something hasn't happened yet in our future. Maybe it's
yeah.
bills needs to get paid or whatever's happening in the future that hasn't happened yet. We can get stuck there. Or in the past where we have shame or guilt. because we're reliving something that already happened. So I think that being present in the moment and knowing that this present moment is the only moment that actually exists, and moving from there in the direction that lights your heart on fire, that will guide you, because it's your inner guidance system that will lead you closer to your purpose and what fills you up and makes you happy and brings you joy.
I got you on that. I got that. And how important is it for when a person is healed or on their healing journey to kind of give a helping hand to somebody else?
I believe that that's so significant because it's when you're helping someone else, you're helping yourself. Like, if you can see it as we are all one, like this unity consciousness, that we are all part of like the divine, we're all our own individual God sparks. And helping someone else, you're helping yourself, and vice versa. And helping yourself, you're helping someone else. So
True
it's
on
just this beautiful journey of constantly being aware that your energy and everything that you bring, like your words are powerful, your thoughts are powerful, and everything that you bring into this reality, it create everything is energy, first of all. And so the energy that you're creating is going to help you on your healing journey. Vice versa, when you walk into a room, that energy that you've created with your intention of like, I'm going to walk into this room and I'm going to transform lives, that in itself, you're creating this energy of healing towards
yeah.
others. Like I've witnessed that, and it's such a beautiful thing to witness. Is just walk into a room and your presence alone transforms the energy, alchemizes it, and offers healing to someone else that may need it and didn't even know.
That's so true. And just before I let you go, right? I always ask this one question to all my guests, and is that do you have any final thoughts, words of wisdom, or advice for the roomies?
Yes, I do. Words of wisdom is and this is on my book, you're not too far gone, you're not too late, you're always becoming. So just know that wherever you are on your journey, it's perfect as it is. Um, you're growing, you're learning, you're expanding, and that's what you came here to do. Like that is part of the human experience. So enjoy the process, even when it feels hard and it feels like a struggle. Know that it's building your strength. Like those are the moments where you're rooted and you're being planted so that you can grow. There's something to learn in every single season of your life.
I feel you. And roomies, remember, keep growing, keep expanding, and help each other out. And with that being said, make sure to check out Becoming Her by Jess Soto. And I will be putting the link down below. And with that,
Thank you.
peace.